Okay, I ended up in the Army in 1959. I was a Cold War soldier. Reason I went in, I was fresh out of college and couldn't get a job because the draft was still active and I was 1A. They wouldn't teach you and then lose you. So I kind of hung around till September of '59, and then I had my draft number pushed up and in I went. First 8, second 8 was Fort Dix, and then the furthest south I had ever lived. I ended up in Petersburg, Virginia, in Fort Lee. In there I went through arms school, and I was supposed to go to Fort Hood, Texas, to a basic training unit. And one person on the orders to go overseas. His wife was going to give birth within 30 days. So he came off the orders. His replacement got hit by a car in Petersburg. He got deleted, and all of a sudden one morning I got a foot going to Texas and turned around. Orders were rescinded. I ended up back at Dix and ready to ship overseas on the Alexander M. Patch. We had 3 ships going back and forth at that time. I ended up in Bremerhaven, got to Frankfurt in the Reppeldepel, and got picked up by the 73rd Artillery. Turned around, and I thought I would end up having gone to arms school in an infantry outfit or a heavy weapons outfit. I ended up in the artillery. Walked through the motor pool like a tourist, looking at 155s, 8-inch, and Honest John rockets. One big claim to fame I did have was the fact that Elvis got out of Germany in March of '60, and I got there in March of '60, so I was his replacement in the 3rd Armored Division. Although he was in the 32nd Missile, if I remember right, I ended up in the 73rd Artillery. One big claim to fame we do have is that our commanding officer was Clayton Abrams, who now they have named a tank after. And we spent many a night up on the Czechoslovakian border, guarding the Fulda Gap when the Berlin Wall went up. Turned around and I came home just prior to Kennedy's extension with the Cuban Missile Crisis. But we were told, do not unpack since you are ready reserve. So until the end of the Cuban Missile, we stayed ready, but I was working at the time, finally. And it was an enjoyable time. The Army had made one big mistake when they sent me to Germany. I could read, speak, and write the language at the time. And one of our biggest games was to take the edible garbage, find the pig farmer in Germany, and come back with a few bottles of beer or a couple of bottles of cognac, which made all the enlisted men quite happy. It was a good time. I met a lot of great people. We had a whole bunch from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and the New England states that we kind of hung together until everybody got split up after Fort Lee, Virginia. I know a lot of other people here had all experiences and medals for this and that, and all I can claim is brownie buttons and bolo badges. But it was a good time, and when I got over there, I found out I was the only school-trained armorer in the battalion. So I had no KP, I had no guard duty. All I did was hang around with a load of keys looking like a landlord. And it was a real nice experience. After I got home, we still stuck together, a few of the guys from Jersey and Connecticut. And we had a high old time when they got back after the extension. We ended up in Germantown in New York, and we did nothing but reminisce till 4 o'clock in the morning, and then got stopped by the cops coming down Lexington Avenue to get on the subway. But it was an enjoyable time with enjoyable people. You always remember the good times, you don't remember the bad times when you sat in the rain with the puddle in your lap with your poncho on. And me wearing glasses, I needed windshield wipers half the time. I got out, and my son does reenactments for the Civil War. and he wanted me to join up with him. However, I spoke to myself and said I'd never sleep in a tent again after spending 90 days in Winter Shield 1 in a tent with 16 degrees outside and 20 inches of snow, icicles hanging from the frame, frost on your sleeping bag, and running to the showers, changing your clothes, and running back in the cold. But like I said, it was a good time with great people, and I've met a lot of them down here since I'm a transplant from New York. I've been down now in Florida for 6 years, and after finding out about the museum here, I joined up and volunteered some time, and it was really enjoyable. I come from people that all in the military. My great-grandfather fought in the Civil War for the Union from New York. I lost an uncle in the First World War. My dad was too young for the first and too old for the second, but he put 2 stints in with the Home Guard, which was eventually the National Guard. And I was the next one. My son lucked out, but he does the reenactments, and they're right now up in Kennesaw Mountain in Georgia doing a reenactment this weekend. So come Monday and Tuesday, I will be out in the backyard doing my armorer's work, helping to clean the weapons that were used up in the reenactment. And it's just been enjoyable, and I look back on it and really, really feel that I did something right, well, and anybody that goes in, it'll never hurt them, because it turns you from a little boy into a man quite quickly. And the people you meet, you'll never forget them. Officers, our battery commander had played baseball for the Boston Red Sox in the minor leagues. We had a great softball team, and if it wasn't for the Berlin Bears, we might have come back to the United States to play the different districts. I played semi-pro. Our pitcher pitched for Budweiser from St. Louis, Missouri. Our first baseman was, in fact, our battalion battery commander. And as I said, old Clayton Abrams, I saw him once. Tough little nut. And I know why they named the tank after him, because from what I had gathered, he was with Patton when he broke in to the Bulge. And it was quite an experience. You go back, many of our officers and NCOs were all Korean War veterans. And it was a matter that it was a Cold War existence, where we had to watch on May Day when they had Germany did have a communist party, and they had their little parades and everything, and you couldn't go anywhere. But aside from that, there was no real shooting, except once in a while you'd get German children would be shooting at you with BB guns and pellet pistols. But we had the atomic rounds for the 8-inch guns. And we had the Honest John rockets, which were very impressive if you got to watch a shoot. And everything went towards Czechoslovakia if you were practicing when you were up in the field, in case something went wrong. The errors were not going to be from friendly fire. And I guess that's about it. I came back very happy. Everybody was happy I came back. And as I said, we've met a few times. Well, not anymore, but 1962 was when we met the first time, and up to about 65, 67 was when we still got together once in a while, 1 or 2 of us, if for no other reason than to reminisce. And it was quite an interesting and good time, and I would recommend it for almost anybody. That's about it.